Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at generating a sales and profit report for from our database. Okay, so let me just go. We want to generate a simple report like this, showing the product name, the product code, the quantity in stock, the buy price, the MSRP, the quantity in stock, the COGS, the market value, the gross profit, and the gross sales and finally the gross profit. Okay, so you might look at this table and be confused. Okay, what is COGS? What is market value? What is MCRP? So, one of the most important skills as a data scientist or as a data analyst is to understand the logic or the business understanding of the field in which you're working for. So, if you're working for a company, you need to be able to understand the company terminology, different terminologies used, and the business logic that is just used in the business. Purely writing code is not data science. Data analysis is not about just writing code. Querying database is not about just writing code, right? Being able to understand the business logic and be able to apply the business logic inside of your queries when trying to analyze data is very important and crucial skill. So first of all, let's try to understand the business we're working with. So we're working with a database that is from um, basically a car dealership, right? So this car dealership basically we have the manufacturer of the vehicles, the dealer, and then finally the consumer. Okay, so what's all this thing? And let's try to understand this. So middleman is the link between the manufacturer and the customer. Okay, so you might be confused. So the dealer is not a customer of the manufacturer, or it looks confusing, right? So the difference between a customer and there's a difference between a customer and a consumer. A customer is someone who buys from you a product but doesn't use the product himself. Instead, sells that product to another person. Another person, that other final buyer of the product, is the one who consumes it. So the difference between a consumer and a customer. So a customer can buy from the manufacturer and then sell it to someone else who is going to be consuming the goods. So for example, let's say that you buy a bread from a bakery, right? And then you don't eat that bread. You just buy the bread from the bakery and then store it. When you have a shop, you store it in a shop and then you sell it to final consumers who are going to actually eat that bread. So in that case, you are a customer of the bakery. You are not the consumer of the bread, right? You are not the consumer, so you are a customer. So that's the difference between a customer and a customer. So in this case, the car dealership is the customer of the manufacturer of the vehicles, while the final buyers of the vehicle are actually the consumer. So we'll be using these terminologies. So again, I explain who we are in this case. So in this three chain of the manufacturer, the dealer, and the consumer, we are the customer of the manufacturer, and then we sell cars to the final users of the vehicles, which are going to be the consumers or the market. Yeah. So basically, we are the dealers in this case because the data set that you are having is from a dealership company that buys vehicles from the manufacturer and then sells those vehicles to different people. So we are the dealer, we are the middleman. Okay. So dealer is completely separate entity from the manufacturer. A dealer is not a manufacturer. So a Ford dealership is not part of the Ford manufacturing company. Those are two different entities, right? So they are just authorized by the manufacturer to sell products on their behalf. That's all basically they do. So for them to be able to sell the products, for basically the vehicles in this case, at a fair price, the manufacturer of the vehicle gives them a rough estimate of how much it's supposed to sell the car. And that is what we call MSRP, right? So MSRP is the rough estimate that is given to the dealership to the dealership by the manufacturer of the vehicles on how much to sell the vehicle. That's basically it. So basically, that is what we refer to as the MSRP. So that's the long form of an MSRP. So MSRP stands for manufacturer suggested retail price. So it's just a rough estimate given to the dealership, right, on how much to sell the car that is coming from the manufacturer. So if you buy a car, you might find some stickers on the car, right? If you go to a car dealership, you might find those stickers on the car mentioning the price of the car. So that's all. The MSRP is also called the sticker price, because that's just a value that is given from the manufacturer on how much to sell the car, so that the car dealership can also make profit, right? Make a reasonable profit and also not overcharge the customers for the product. So that's also called sticker price. So if you go to car dealerships, you might find some sticker prices like this, and these are just MSRPs. Okay, so sticker prices or MSRPs. So now we have understood what an MSRP is. Okay, so good. Once you have understand the MSRP, one thing you have to notice that don't be fooled by the MSRP, right? So this is what the dealers want they want you to see. Basically, that's the price that they want to see. It's not the actual price of the vehicle. You might buy the vehicle at a lower price or at a higher price than the MSRP, depending on different factors, right? This is to help the dealers just to come up with a fair price for you to be able to buy the car. So these are just prices to make sure that from the manufacturers, to make sure the dealership doesn't overcharge consumers of the vehicle. So that's basically what an MSRP is. Okay. So we have looked at MSRP. We have looked at the finals. We have looked at the sticker prices of the MSRP, and we have told you that MSRP is not the final price that you might pay for the car. You might pay either less or more. Okay, it's just a MSRPs are actually just the starting point of negotiation. So if you see MSRP in on a car or sticker price on a car, doesn't mean the car might cost exactly that amount. It might cost lower or it might cost higher depending on different factors such as demand. Okay, so let's take a look at MSRP from our database. So I just go into our database right here, and instead of the orders table, I just, oh, well, let me just, I think it's in products. So if I go ahead and open the products table, now here you can see the MSRP right here. This is the MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price. Okay, so you can see the vehicle and the MSRP that is coming from the manufacturer, how much the manufacturer expects, suggests that the consumer, the retailer sells the vehicles to the final consumer. So you can see that's the MSRP there. Under products table, you can find the MSRP at the last column. Okay. So from the productions table, you can find MSRP as the last column right here. So that's basically what MSRP is. Okay. So good. So once you look at MSRP, you can even go back and let's go back to the database, and let me just bring this down here. I can just I want to select the MSRP of the vehicle. Let's say that you want to select the MSRP of the vehicle with this certain ID number. So you can just say, we can say where, let's say where product code is equals to, and then I have a value that I picked up. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply type it in here. So 18 underscore 1749. Basically, that's it. So if I just close off this parenthesis, so let me just break this down into multiple lines. So if I run it, it's going to return to me the MSRP of this basically this vehicle. So you can see it right here, and you can select the MSRP column specifically if you want. So you can see this is the MSRP for this specific vehicle. Okay, so that's basically it. And let's go back to the slides. So that's basically it. So let's go back to the slide. So I'm just going to go in here and then go to the next slide. So market value, that's another concept we need to look at. So what is market value? So market value is just the average price buyers pay for the vehicle in the market. So for example, as I told you that the MSRP is just a starting point of negotiation, right? People can buy the car lower price than MSRP, very close to MSRP, or the exact price as the MSRP. So different customers buy the vehicle at different prices, right? So buying the car at different prices, different customers buying the car at different prices. What you can simply go ahead and do, we find the average of all the price of all. We basically find the average of all the value that you have sold, the selling price of all those cars. So that the average of that value is what we call the market value. So let me just go back to the database and demonstrate this to you. So I'm going to go inside of my orders table. So I'm just going to copy this right here and duplicate it, paste it right here, and then change this to be order details. So I'm going to change this to be dot order details, just like that. So I'm checking if it's something from the order detail. Let me run the code and let's see what we get back. So we get back this right here. So we can see this is the same vehicle because it has the same product code. You can see the same product code, but you can see these are different sales, right? So you can see we also have the price each, how much the vehicle was sold at, right? So it was sold at around for the first value right here, for the first sales for this vehicle, it was sold around 136. And now let's look at the MSRP, what the manufacturer suggested the car to be sold at, and it was selected to be sold at 170. So you can see on the first round the customer paid less than the MSRP, which is this value right here, right? So that's basically it. So you can find different customers paid different prices depending on their negotiation skills. Some of them paid very close to the MSRP. You can see this guy paid very close. This order actually goes very close to the MSRP and stuff like that. So basically, different customers pay different for the different amount for the car depending on their negotiation skills and stuff like that. So basically, the average of these car prices right here is what we call the market value. So if you're asking for the market value of this specific car, its market value is going to be the average of all the selling prices that we have, the price each that we have column right here. So that's basically what the market value is. Okay, so let me just go back in here. So we have looked at what market value is. This price depends on other features such as supply, demand, incentives, like if the car has customizations, your negotiation skills, and other stuff like that. Okay. Now let's look at the invoice price. Invoice is the price the dealer buys the vehicle for from the manufacturer. So the price that the dealer buys the vehicles for from the manufacturer is what we call an invoice price. The dealer then adds some additional cost to it, so like electricity, storing the car in a warehouse, transportation of the car from the manufacturer to his or her dealership, um, paying extra cost of paying workers and other stuff like that, rent for where the car is stored and all of that warehousing. All of that is added to the to the to the to the buying price of the car, and then finally we get something called a COGS, which is cost of goods sold, because you have bought the car from a certain price, but you have also have some additional costs that you have incurred till the date of selling the car, right? And if you add all those together to the original price of the car, you come up with something known as cost, which is cost of goods sold, the cost of the goods that you have sold. So if the dealer sells the for prices above the invoice price, they keep the rest as profit, right? Because that's their profit. If they sell less than the invoice price, they make a loss, right? So the car dealership actually do not make complete losses, and we'll look at that just in a second. So let me just go back to this to the here on this page, right on the workbench, and in here you can see, if I go ahead and select this and run this, so you can see the buy price is how much the customer bought the vehicle for, right? And if you look at the selling price is different because there are other stuff that has been added to the final price of the car. So we get this amount, right, from buying it from let me just go ahead and run the code again. So we bought it around 86.7, and we sold it more than that, almost 130 something. So we have added all the additional costs to get what you call the cost of goods sold. So that's basically it. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically it. And if you sell more than, sorry, if you sell more than that, if you sell more than the cost of goods sold, we keep the rest as profit. If you sell less than that, you are making simply a loss, right? Okay. So market value and the invoice price. Market price is the average of the car's retail price, which is the amount the buyer pays for the vehicle, right? So some customers pay more than other customers, right, for the same vehicle. The information, the more in demand the vehicle is, the bigger the difference between the MSRP, which is the manufacturer's retail price, right, and the suggested retail price, and the invoice price, which is the price you bought the car for, which the manufacturer bought the car, the dealer bought the car from the manufacturer. So the invoice price is just an estimate, a rough estimate, right? There is a percentage of the MSRP or the invoice that the manufacturer holds back, right? That is paid to the dealer once the car is sold. That's why I told you that earlier on. They don't actually make losses, because if you are making losses, then nobody will really be selling cars. Like sometimes they might make losses, but at the end of the day, the manufacturer holds back some percentage of the MSRP or the invoice price, and then is paid that invoice that hold back percentage is paid to them after they have sold the car. So they also make some profit at the end of the day from the manufacturer. So the bigger the difference between the MSRP and the invoice, the more in demand the vehicle likely is, right? So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. In such cases, the dealer can charge more for the vehicle. So that's basically it. So the dealer's profit margin is the difference between what is originally paid to the manufacturer for the vehicle and the price at which it sells to the customer. Okay. So you have looked at all this business logic, all these technologies, and you have understood what is the market value, what is cost, what is gross sales, what is profit, and all that information. So now that you have a clear understanding of all this information, now you can go ahead and generate a table just like this to be able to answer the question that we originally started with. So let's go ahead and jump into MySQL workbench. So once I'm in my workbench, I can just go ahead and clear all of this. I don't really need all of that, so I'll just clear them off. Okay, so once I have this, let's go look at the information that you want to generate. So I'm just going to make a comment right here, and this is going to be generated. I'm going to call this generate report, just like that. So generate report, and there are different columns that you want to generate from our report. So we want to generate the product code. We want to generate the product name. We want to generate right from the columns, right? So our table basically consists of the product code, the product name, the quantity in stock. So this will be quantity in stock. So obviously write the quantity in stock. In stock, what else do we have from the table? We also have the buy price. So the buy price. So buy price, and we also have let's look your MSRP. So manufacturer suggested retail price, and we also have the quantity sold. So quantity, the quantity sold. We also have the market value. So this you have to, it's going to be calculated column. So market, value. So just like that, market value. What else do we have? We also have, let me just go ahead and see what else we have. We have the COGS, so cost of goods sold. So we also have the COGS, so cost of goods sold. And then we have finally we have gross sales, so gross sales. And then we have a profit as well, so profit, just like that. So we have these columns that you want to generate. So let me just zoom out a bit so you can see all that clearly. So you want all these columns that you want to be part of our final sales report that you are trying to generate. So that's basically the data that you're trying to generate. So let me just clear this off. So good. So let's go ahead and see from which tables we need to join this from. So looking clearly, you have gone over the tables. So I hope you guys are now familiar with the tables. So we need to pull reports from, I think the first one is a production table, right? So if I look production and we have it right here, we can see we can get some production table. Let me just say, okay, let me just copy all this right here, cut it off, and then go in here and then paste it inside of this query. So I can go ahead and open up this again. So open it up. And you can see here we have the product code, the product name, and all that information that we want, the quantity in stock, the buy price, and all that information. So we want all that, the MSRP is all in the production table. So let's go ahead and start from the product table. So I'm going to go ahead and select, let me just let me just select asterisk, select all the columns. This is going to be from, let me just keep all that up. Okay, so from, I'm going to select this from the production table. So sorry, the product table. So select that from the product table, and that's basically going to give us the same result as this, right? Okay, good. So if I run this, we should get this back the same result. Okay. Okay, I got an error right here. Table classic is called production. Okay, product, sorry, not production, products. Okay, so I'm going to run that one more time, and we get back this result right here. So good. Once we have that done, what I want to go ahead and do is do a join with another table, which is going to be the order details table. So if you look at the order details table, it has some information that we want to pull out. So it has information such as the price each, the quantity ordered. This price each can help us, price each times the quantity ordered can help us to get the cost of the goods sold and other stuff like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and pull information from that table. So I'm going to go in here and then say, let's delete this right here. I'm going to say join. I'm going to say sorry, basically we have to say join keyword. So join, let me keep that uppercase. So I'm going to say, okay, sorry for my typing errors today. So join with the order details table. You're going to join on some basis, right? So I'm going to join on the, let me give this an alias name instead. So I'm going to us, and I'm going to say prod, and here I'm going to simply say us, and I'm going to say order detail. Okay, so I'm going to simply say prod dot production table dot product. It's going to be product code must be equals to the ord dot product code, just like that. So good. So once you have that done, you can select this query and execute it. And if you execute, you can see we have all this information from our table, right? So good. Now we need to go ahead and join with one more table, which is going to be the orders table, because the orders table has some information that we need, right? So we're going to join with the orders table to pull out some information that we need as well. So we want to go ahead and pull out information such as let me see, we can pull out a lot of information from this, but for now let me just go ahead and actually join with the orders table, because we're going to do something with the orders table. I just clearly don't remember what you're going to do with the orders table, but we're going to go ahead and use the orders table in our query as well. So we're going to go ahead and join this with the orders table. So I'm going to go ahead and simply say, okay, this is going to be here, and then I'm going to go and say join. This is going to be join with the orders table. So orders table, just like this. I'm going to say as ord, and I'm going to go ahead and say on ord dot order number. So it's going to be order number, right? Order number should be equals to the ord dot order number. So sorry, not ord. Instead, it's going to be the order detail dot order number. Okay. So you can go ahead and look between these two tables. You can see we have this table right here, and order number is something that is common between the two tables. We talk about different joins in SQL, so I'm not going to go ahead and into the depths of joins and stuff like that. So once you have this query, let's run this query and see. So we have no error. So we have the information pulled out here. So information pulled out, and you have this huge table having all these columns that you want, right? So now let's go ahead and select only the columns that you're interested in, and also be able to generate the calculated columns using the value. So the first thing you can do is the order date, right? So we're going to say or the dot order date. So you can pull out the order date information if you want. You can also pull out the production code. So sorry, the product code, order date dot production code. Yeah, which is one of the columns that we need, right? Production code. We also need the product name. So let's go ahead and pull that information as well. So I'm going to say prod dot production product name. Sorry, my bad, not production. Okay, so once we have the which other columns we need, we also need the quantity in stock. So quantity in stock can be found inside of the product table as well. So if you go into the products table, you can find the quantity in stock. So let's go ahead and get that as well. So product table dot quantity quantity in stock, just like that. Good. So once we have that, you can also pull out the buy price of the product. So if you go in the product table, you can see the buy price, and we use this also in our calculated columns just in a second. So product table dot is it buy price? Yeah, buy price is here. So buy price, right? So good. And also, what else we need? You also need the MSRP, and that can be found in which of the tables? The product table. So I'm going to go down here and say product table dot MSRP. Good. So once we have that done, good. So yeah, we have everything here, right here. We have the product quantity in, so quantity sold. We can also pull out the quantity sold information, and which column can that be found. So the quantity sold can be found in the order details table, right? So I can just say order details dot quantity sold. Basically, it's going to be quantity ordered, right? So good. So once we have that done, good, let me just zoom out a bit so that you guys can see that clearly. So that's a long query. So let's go ahead and actually run it. So once we run it, we get back this information right here. So we can see we are generating some parts of our final table that you're aiming to generate. You're going to be the sales reports table, but you're missing some information, right? We have the product name. We actually don't need a date, but I'm just going to include the date just for reasons, okay? So once we have those columns pulled up, what I simply want to go ahead and do is to pull up the calculated columns, or the calculated fields, because if you look here, we are going to calculate the COGS, cost of the goods sold, the market value, which is average price of the selling price of the vehicles that each customer bought it for. We're finally going to find the gross sales and then finally the profit. Okay, so let's get to it and let's begin here. So I'm going to go ahead and write the code right here. So the first thing I want to do is calculate the average average value of all the selling price to give us the market value of the vehicle. So to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and open up, use the calculated column. Okay. So I'm going to give this a name as I'm going to call it market underscore value value, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to call it market value. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and write a subquery, right? This is going to be a correlated query, in fact. So I'm going to say select. I'm going to go ahead and say select. So let me just say select, and then for now, just put asterisk. And this is going to be from which table we're going to select from. We're going to select from the order details, order detail, or order details table. So we're going to select from order details table, order details table, and we're going to have a where clause. We're going to select where the price of the vehicle. Sorry, let me just explain this to you. So we're going to select from the orders details table where the product code is going to be. For example, we take this one, you find all the product code that are of this class, and then you find its average. So let me just go ahead and simply add a where clause here. So where I'm going to say where product code is going to be equals to, and let me just go ahead and select this product code right here. So I'm going to select that and simply paste it right here. So paste it right here and just close this off. So if I run the query, let's see what we get. So we're going to get only vehicles that have that product code. So get vehicles that have this product code. Now we want to find the average of the selling the sale of each. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that right here. So if I go back into this file right here, we're going to say where the order details dot product code is going to be equals to the ord dot product code. Dot product code. Good. So that's basically the query that we have. So this is going to be a correlated query because it's going to apply this. It's going to execute this query for each row of data from the outer tables, right? From the outer order detail table. Okay. So once you have that, we want to find the round price. I want to find the. Let me just say we want to find the average, right? So just exit this. So I want to find the average, which is going to be AVG, which is an inbuilt function that we have. So we want to find the average of what? We want to find the average of the price each, right? The price each column. So the price each column is this column right here. So if you go ahead, let me just pull this up right here. This is the price each column. So you're finding the average of this specific column, right? So that's basically it. So once we run this code, now you should have something also called the market value. So let me just go ahead and run this code to make sure everything, the subquery works before we move on. Okay, so you run the query. Okay, good, everything works. So we have now the average of this. So for example, if you go in here and try to find all of this divided by the number of cars that you have sold of that type, then you should be able to get the average price of this specific car, this product code. So that's basically it. So you can see for each vehicle transfers the product code of that specific vehicle. Okay. Yeah, so good. We have that information gathered there. So once we have that, let's say you can add an where clause right here. So you can just say where. Let me just put this in upper cases. Okay, I'm going to say where ord dot order number equals to. Let me just go ahead and get the order number. Let me just say product code rather. So let me just copy all of this and move it right here. So replace this with the code that I just copied. It's going to be from the order details table. So order details dot this is going to be that. So if I select this, it's going to return to us only of that specific vehicle with that specific product code. So if I run the query, we have that information right here. So you can see now all these vehicles of this price have this an average price. So you can see the market value because they're the same vehicle. So we have the same market value for those vehicles. So that's the information that we wanted. I just want to confirm it all worked. So good. Now, once I have this done, I don't need this query here anymore. So I'm just gonna comment it out and just close off this. Okay. So now we have the market price, the market value. Good. So now let's calculate the COGS. What's the cost? COGS is this cost of goods sold, right? So you're going to go. Let me also, let me also round. Let's try to round this off to this 2 decimal places. So round. You're going to round this off, and I'm going to say 2 decimal places. So that's how you round off to 2 decimal places. Okay. So you can add it off to any number of decimal places you want, but I'm just gonna keep that to be 2. Okay, so we have that value calculated. So once you have that value calculated, I also want to go ahead and find the cost of the goods sold. The cost of the goods sold is gonna be another calculated column. It's gonna be you're going to have it as COGS, so cost of goods sold. Okay, so let's fill in here what's gonna be the information inside of this calculated column. It's gonna be the product code. So I'm going to say the product dot the buy price of the vehicle, not the product code, my bad. So the buy price of the vehicle multiplied by the order details dot quantity. This is gonna be quantity ordered, right? So quantity ordered. Good. So that's going to be the cost of the goods. So we find the amount of vehicles that you have sold multiplied by the buy price of each, and the buy price is going to be coming from the products table. So the products table, we have buy price. So we have the buy price of the vehicle from the products table. Multiply it by the number of quantities that you have sold right here, right? So we're gonna do this for each of the rows to find the cost of goods sold for each of those. Okay, so the cost of the goods sold. So once we have this done, let's try to run it again and make sure that our column works fine. So we run it, and you can see the cost of the goods sold right here. So we have sold, for example, let's find the first one where the car ID is. This one is a 1917 Grand Touring. So let's try to see. Let me see if I can find that right here. 19. Let's see. Let me just go back here and return that query that we had there, where clause. Okay, so just do this based on where. So just going to go here, delete the comments, and make this code, and then simply run this one more time. So once I go ahead and run this, you can see I have it right here. So you can see this is the product code, and its average price is around 2,601. So if I go in here, we should find, for example, this car right here. The first car right here, which was sold on the first, right, on the first of 6. I think I don't have the order date right here. Let's see the order number. You can also print out the order number if you want. Let's see if you have the order number. The order number is not here, but you can trace that information. But let's try to get the order number as well. So order date, and let me just minimize this, and then also bring back the order number right here. So I'm going to say ord details dot order number. So order number. I hope it's in this table. So let's run the query again, and let's see what we get. So let's run that query. Okay, it says that you have on a SQL call this one. Let me just select this to make sure I have the whole thing selected. So select all of that and run it again. So we have the information right here. So let me just pull out that information. So we have the order number right here, which is 100,10100. So if I go in 10100, so you can take this 30 times this one. You should be able. No, sorry, not 30. Sorry, you should take the buy price, right? So I think I'm making a mistake here. So let me just slow down a bit. So the cost of the goods sold is going to be equals to the buy price, and the buy price. Where do you get the buy price? We get the buy price from the products table. So if I go to the products table, I can find the buy price of that specific vehicle. I can take the buy price of that vehicle multiplied by the buy price multiplied by the quantity ordered. So the quantity order, which is from the orders table, you can be able to find that information. The quantity order, multiply by that by the buy price, and that will give you the cost of the goods sold. That's how you calculate the cost of the goods sold. Okay. Okay. So once we have that, now I also want to round this off to just two decimal places. So I'm going to say round, and let's round this off to two decimal places. So round this to just two decimal places, just like that. So two decimal places we're keeping here too. So once we have that, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this right here, paste it right here. Okay. So I'm going to paste this right here, and I'm going to change this. Okay. So this is going to be different. A column. This is going to be for the, let me look here, which is going to be the gross sale. Okay. So we're going to calculate the gross, make this lowercase. So gross underscore sales, just like that. So how do we calculate the gross sale? We take the order, or the order price, price of each multiplied by the quantity ordered, and that's going to return to us the gross sales. So the selling price might multiplied by the quantity sold. Okay, so I'm using quantity ordered basically. So I'm going to say ORD details product. No, sorry, this is going to be the price each. Price each multiplied by the ORD details quantity sold, and that's going to give us the gross sales. So good. Once we have that generated, let's also go ahead and generate the last one. And the last one is going to be the, let me just go up here. The last one is going to be, let me just minimize this right here. The last one is going to be the product, right? And the profit that we made from selling the product. So we're going to name this to be product. So change this to be profit, sorry. So we're going to simply take in the cost of the goods sold, right, minus finally the COGS, right, the cost of the goods sold. So I'm going to copy this right here, and I'm going to take how much we sold the good minus how much we bought the good, and that will give us the how much profit we made from selling that product. So this is it. I'm going to break this line down into this right here. So good, that's basically it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the basically this one right here, this code right here, which is going to return to us how much we sold the good minus how much we bought the good, right? The buying price, basically the selling price minus the selling price minus the buying price gives us the profit. Okay, so once we have that there, good, that's all we need to generate a table. So we have all the columns that are generated. So I'm going to simply go ahead and run this code one more time. So select all this, and if I run it one more time, hopefully we don't have any errors, and great, we have that report being generated. So we can have the report being generated right here. So that's basically it. So just take this amount here, this amount minus this amount, and that gives us the profit, right? This the gross minus the cost, and then gives us the gross the profit of the good. So that's basically how we can generate that report right there. So simple way to generate that report. Yeah, so that's basically what you wanted to cover in this video. So we have learned how to generate reports, and basically we have used all the things that you have learned from the app videos, like the correlated queries. You have learned how to use calculated columns and all of that to generate the tables, different where join statements. So everything that you have learned in the previous videos, you have applied all of them in generating this report. So good, that's all I wanted us to cover in this video. So in the next video, you're going to go ahead and look at the variables and function, because if you look at functions, if you've ever done programming or you are new to programming, I also have a video on introduction to Python on my channel. You can check it out if you are new to programming. But in programming, you have this concept of functions, right? So this thing right here, we can put this inside of a function. We can put all of this inside of a function to make our code a bit cleaner. And you can see having this right here is not really good practice. So in the next video, we'll learn how to generate a function and move all of this code into a function, and then just simply call that function in here. That will make our code much simpler and easier to understand and debug in case there's an issue, because right now it looks pretty messy, right? So we'll do that in the next video. So you guys, thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, liking this video, and sharing this content to anyone who you think might find it helpful. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.